So part 2 of this assignment is creating the background to our poster. You should have already completed part 1 in Photoshop, which is manipulating the car. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create the background to this. So the star, the arrows, and the font. So the first thing I need you to do is go ahead and open up Illustrator. And once you have it open, go File, New. You're going to name it your last name, first initial, underscore, mini, minor. So last name, first initial, underscore, mini, minor. The units, we want it to be inches, so if it's on points, change it to inches. For the width, we want 17. For the height, we want 11. And for the size, we want tabloid. Once you do all that, click OK. The next thing we want to do is we want to place our car within this document. So it's a little bit different in Illustrator because most of the time you would go, like in Photoshop, you'd go File, Open, and then just open the document that way. But we are wanting to place another picture inside of this document. So instead of going File, Open, we're going to go File, Place. And it's going to place the car inside this document. Maneuver to wherever you saved your car. Now you want to make sure you are opening the PNG file of your car and not the Photoshop file. So find your PNG photo of your car and go place. And then holding down Shift, we're going to decrease the size of this car a little bit. Make sure you hold down Shift because it's going to keep the car proportional and it won't let you, change the width or the height of it. It's going to keep everything proportional to what it was to begin with. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we're going to add our star. So click on the rectangle tool, which is the one that looks just like a rectangle. Click on it and choose the star tool. Once you have the star tool selected, do not draw the star. All you want to do is click on your document and it's going to give you an option of what do you want your star to look like. So we are going to do radius 1. We're going to make it 7. Radius 2, we're going to make it 1.5. And the points, so the average star has 5 points, but we want to have a 27 point star, so we're going to change it to 27. So 7, 1.5, and 27. And then click OK. We also have a white star. We're going to change the color. I'm going to actually split my screen really fast. So we want our star to be this dark blue right here, this kind of aqua color. So right here where you have this, the foreground color, the fill color, go ahead and click on that, double click on it, it's going to open up the color picker, can't talk today. Go to the blues and try to find a blue that you think kind of matches that color. I'm going to say that one probably, maybe a little lighter. Then click OK. And now you have your blue star. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to zoom out. So I'm going to go Windows, Navigator, and zoom out just a little bit. Then with my selection tool, I'm going to move my star. The middle of my star I want to be behind my car. So and then I'm going to make my star bigger. You want to make sure that every point goes off of the picture. So you don't want any of the stars to end like in the corner. So you're just going to keep making the picture bigger and bigger until every point at some point goes off of the page. Now to help get us a better idea of what it's going to look like, we're going to move this star to the back. So go Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And now your car is kind of in front, so you kind of have a better idea of what the picture is going to look like. Once you're happy with it, you can also use your arrow keys if you want to fine-tune it just a little bit. Okay, once you're happy, go ahead and just click off of it somewhere, and you have your star. And you have to remember that anything outside of your picture, it won't show. So even though it shows in Illustrator, when you actually print it or we save it as a PDF, anything outside of your page won't show, so you won't see the edges of this star. The next thing we want to do is we want to add the background color. I'm just going to split the screen really fast again. So this light blue background color is what we're going to do next. So go ahead, where you grabbed the star tool, grab your rectangle tool, and let's scoot over just a little bit, and then drag a rectangle around your square. And then we don't want it to be that same blue. We want it to be a lighter color blue, so click on your little fill box over here and choose a lighter colored blue. I'm going to go with that one. Click OK. And then go Object, Arrange, send backwards. We're going to do it one more time. Send backwards. Okay. So now we kind of have the background started. So now we are ready to do the arrows. One thing that we might want to do before we start doing the arrows, if you notice I have a small black, on the outside of my star I have a black stroke. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So with my selection tool, I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to select my star. And then I'm going to go over here. The reason I have a black stroke is because right here it says I want a black stroke. So if you don't want that small little black stroke, go ahead and just click the none. And then when I click off of it, you'll notice that the black lines around my star are gone. And you can also do the same thing to the background if you want, so that way you don't have any black lines. So now we're ready to add the arrows. So we're going to start with these arrows in here. We're going to start at the bottom one and just work our way up. So what we're going to do is I want you to open up your brush palette, which is going to be this one right here on the right hand side of your screen. And you're going to go to the down arrow right here. Make sure you're on brushes. Go to the down arrow. We want to open brush library, arrows, standard arrow. And they have different types of arrows that you can choose from. We're going to choose the fourth one from the top, which is arrow 1.09. And all you're going to do is you're going to click on it and drag. That's how you're going to get it. So click on this arrow and drag it down and then let go with your mouse. It's going to put a little bitty one. So we're going to do our selection tool, click on it, and then just expand it a little bit. Now we're going to change the color. And so let me try up here. Let's do this burgundy color. Okay, now, but if you notice, now instead of an arrow, if I let go, I actually have a square. So what it did was it created an arrow and a square. So we need to separate those two. So in order to do that, we're going to right click with our mouse and go ungroup. So we're basically ungrouping the square and the triangle. I mean, not the triangle, the arrow. Now holding down shift. If I click on my arrow, see how I have this thick border? Holding down shift, you're going to click on the arrow and drag it out. And then you have two separate documents. So let me show you that one more time in case you didn't get that, because it is a little confusing. I don't like that color. Okay, so right click, ungroup, hold down shift, click on my arrow, make sure you have that thick border, hold down shift, and then if it doesn't work, just kind of keep, there you go, shift and drag. If it doesn't work, just kind of keep clicking and holding shift until you can get both of them, and then you have your arrow. So the next thing we're going to do is, let me split my screen so you can kind of see what I'm talking about next. Okay, so if you notice, this arrow is a little lopsided. It's not a perfect arrow like ours is in this picture. See how ours is a perfect and theirs is not quite. So what we're going to do is, let's rotate this and move it to where we want. Okay, and then, so kind of about right there. Let's bring it in a little bit. Now, if you grab the second arrow, which is the direct selection tool, this allows you to manipulate the individual edges. So then I can double click on like the corner and I can move it however I want. So I could double click on this arrow right here and drag it out a little bit. So now I have one side a little bit bigger, kind of how theirs is. I think that might be a little bit too much. And theirs is a little sideways, so I'm going to grab my sections over here and actually go like that. I mean, you can make it, honestly, however you want. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Then whenever you feel like you're happy with it, then just hit the selection tool again and move it to wherever you need to move it to. I'm going to go right there, and then I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Send Backwards. So then I have my first arrow, just like that. Okay, so from here we're going to work on the other arrows. I'm still going to split my screen really fast one more time. I'll probably delete all this so you can see better. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to take this, so we're going to select our arrow, go Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. I accidentally got rid of my split screen. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and change the color. I'm going to change it to a red, and I'm going to drag it over here and rotate it, pull it out. Just kind of keep rotating it until you feel like it's in a good position. Then you can always go Object, Arrange, Send Backwards to get a better view of it. I think that looks good right there. So we're going to Edit, Paste again. We're going to make this one yellow. Rotate it. Object, Arrange, Send Back. Whoops. Went too far back. Bring forward. One more time. Object. If you bring it back too many times, that's okay. Just bring it forward like I'm doing. Okay. Now we're going to do it a couple more times. Edit, Paste. Change this one to a green. I'm going to choose that one. Rotate it. And I'm rotating it everything. I'm doing everything with the selection tool right up here. Object, Arrange, Send Backwards. Okay, now if you notice, the green is above the yellow. You can layer these different ways. So if you want the yellow above the green and the red, just go Arrange, Bring Forward. I'm going to bring forward again. So then, and then Object, Arrange, Bring Back. Whoops. Too many times. Object, Arrange, Bring Backwards. Object, Arrange, Bring Forward. Okay, so you can layer these different ways. So, I mean, if you want the green and the red on top of the yellow, if you want the yellow on top of the green and the red, you decide how you want to layer it and how you think it looks the best. That's all up to you. Then I'm going to edit, paste one more time. I'm going to make it a blue. Or you don't even have to go blue if you don't want to, since there's already a lot of blue in the background. I know they have blue, but we could go pink. You could go purple even. I think I might go, oh, you can go orange even, or purple. So you kind of choose whatever color you want. I think I'm going to go with orange. I mean, not orange, purple. Object arrange, bring backwards. And you can make some of them thicker than others. I mean, they don't all necessarily have to be the exact same width. So kind of just start arranging them however you feel like looks the best to you. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. So you just kind of get it to where you like it. And so far your picture should look something like mine so far. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the lines that are coming from the back of the card. So in order to make these lines right here that you see, we are going to use the rectangle tool. So drag it, and you're just going to kind of create a rectangle. It doesn't really matter how much size, we can always change it later. We're going to change it to the first color. So whatever color you chose for this arrow, like my little burgundy maroon color, that's going to be the color of your first rectangle. And then, oops, I created another rectangle. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it. Right there. Mine's a little bit long, so I'm just going to make it go in a little bit. Now, if you notice in theirs gets skinnier, like it goes from thick to skinny. So in order to do that, we're going to choose the direct selection tool. And just like we did the arrows, to manipulate the arrows, we're going to double click on the corners and we're going to bring them in. So now we kind of go from thick to thin. And I'm going to make them a little bit thicker just because I think we have the room. I'm also going to rotate it a little bit more. So mine's about right there. Once you're happy with the look and the color and everything, just click on it and go edit, copy, edit, paste. Change the color to the color of your second arrow, which mine's red. And you're going to put it right beside the other one. Okay, and you can use your arrow keys if you need to move it a little bit more. Okay, so once you're happy, just keep going, edit, paste again, change the color with your selection tool, move it where you want, and then with your putting your mouse on the very corner, get your little double arrow so you can turn it, and just keep moving it until you are happy with the results. I'm using my arrow keys to move it a little bit. And it might help. You can either do what I'm doing and then arrange them to the back after I'm completely done, or you can, after you get one done, you can go object arrange, send backwards, object arrange, send backwards, object arrange, send backwards. So you can do one at a time, or you can, you know, do them all at the same time. It doesn't really matter when it comes to the send backwards. Just don't forget to do that. Edit, paste. Make this one green. And then move it. Using my arrow keys to move it a little bit closer. Object, arrange, send backwards. And I have one more. So edit, paste. I'm going to make it purple. Object, arrange, send backwards. I was getting that message because I accidentally clicked on the delete anchor point, which I didn't want to do. I accidentally clicked on that. Okay, so just make it until you're happy with whatever. I'm happy with all of mine. So once you're happy, then we can move on to the next section, which is the last portion, which is the mini minor text. In order to add the font now, I need you to go back to Moodle. And right here under assignment 6, I actually have the font that we're going to use. I downloaded it from dafont.com, so you should just be able to double click on it. And instead of, you have open or save. Normally we've been opening, but this time I want you to save. And it's going to save to your downloads folder. So if you're using Firefox like I am, you can just double click on this arrow and then click on your little manila envelope right here to open it in your downloads. If you're not using Firefox, you probably have to go to Start and then My Computer and then Downloads. And then it's going to be the Arista right here. So just click on it and go Install. Mine's already installed, so yours won't say that. Okay, once it's done installing, which it doesn't really take that long, then you can go back to Illustrator. Click on the T, which is right here, that stands for text. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And then right here in the very middle, you're going to scroll down. The Arista had a Z in front of it. So if you notice, like in my downloads folder, it had the Z. So it's not, if you try to look in the A's for Arista, it's not going to be there. You have to go to the Z's, since it had a Z in front of it. And it should be here. So Z Arista. Make sure your T is selected. And I'm just going to click outside of my picture and start typing. If you notice, it's really, really small. So I'm going to go ahead and make it 72. And I'm going to type mini minor. Now we want to change the color. Let's see what color they used. They kind of used brownish color, which I'm not necessarily a huge fan of. So we can probably just choose whatever color we want. I'm probably going to make this a little bit bigger. Let's make it maybe 100. And then with your selection tool, just click on it and move it over here. And you can always make it a little bit bigger if you want, just by stretching it out. So we'll kind of make it, the size might depend on the size of your arrows and how far they go up. And then let's just change the color. For the color, I mean, just kind of choose a color that you feel goes with your picture. I know they used a brown color. That's a dark brown. I'm not real sure what color to use. Maybe I'll make a burgundy. Maybe I'm going to make mine the same color that I made my first arrow. So you can make it whatever color you want. I'm also going to make it a little bit bigger, just because I like it. Okay, so now you should have the word mini minor on your... The very last thing we have to do now is we're going to make a clipping mask that will delete everything outside of our picture, so that way the only thing we see is our actual document. So in order to do that, go ahead and grab the rectangle tool and change the color to black if it's not black already, and then just draw a rectangle around our document. So you should just have a blank that goes the entire width and length of the page. And then once we have our rectangle, we're going to change it to the no stroke. So then you won't be able to see it, but that's okay, it's still there. Grab your selection tool and make a square around the entire picture. That way it selects everything in your picture. And then go Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And it should delete everything outside of that rectangle that you just drew. So if you didn't get that, or that you didn't work for you, let me undo mine and do it again just to show you. So grab your rectangle tool, make sure it's on black, draw your rectangle, okay, make it none for the color now, grab your selection tool, drag a square around your entire thing to select everything, Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And then you can click off of it to see what your final product looks like. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to save it. So go File, Save As. Go to wherever you want to save it to. I'm saving mine to my desktop. You should have your last name, first initial, mini minor. Save it as an Adobe Illustrator file. Click any of the defaults, just accept them, and then save it. Once it's done, save it again, File, Save As. Save it as a Adobe PDF, and then hit Save. Make sure you upload the Illustrator file to be graded, and then upload your PDF to the peer review. And you are done with your mini minor poster. So now the next assignment has you creating your own poster. So you get to choose the topic. You know, we advertised a poster for the mini minor. You can choose a band, you can choose a type of food or a drink or a book fair, a garage sale, I don't know. You can decide what you want your poster to be over, and you're going to create a poster in the same way that we did. So once you find a picture for your poster, you're going to manipulate the picture in Photoshop, and then you're going to create your backgrounds and text using Illustrator. And you don't have to use the stars and the arrows like we did. If you go under shapes, you know, you have all sorts of shapes. You can go to brushes. If I open my brush, you know, you don't have to use an arrow. There's all sorts of brushes, like all the brushes that we learned in last week's things. Or open up the brush library, and there's multiple arrows and artistic. So you can use any of these. You don't have to do the star and the arrow like we did. You can go out on your own and be creative.